Mrs. Cooksey. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we're going to reconvene to open session at 6:09. And we have one item to report out of closed session. The approval of rejection of claim for damages against the Lancaster School District by Aliyah Wright. There was a motion by Keith Giles, a second by Dwayne Wynn, and the motion was passed 4-0. Okay, next we have student discipline. Approval of expulsion of student number 71016710. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Keith, second by Diane Grooms. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have approval of expulsion of student number 71022932. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Wynn,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Giles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And with that, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Lexi Conti.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite you all to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And welcome everyone to our district board meeting. We're going to start with addressing the board. Board members will be utilizing electronic devices during the meeting to access the online agenda, and an electronic device may be used to record this meeting. Individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it and any supporting documents to the deputy superintendent. Individuals participating remotely who wish to speak must have a completed and approved online registration for public comments no later than 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Personal information such as a student, parent, guardian's name, address, phone number, date of birth, email address, or other directory information as defined in Education Code 49061 may be excluded from the minutes of the meeting by submitting a written request to the superintendent. The board president shall recognize individuals who wish to speak. Individuals wishing to present testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda may do so once that item has been moved, seconded, and is on the floor for discussion. Time limits of 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per item shall be allowed according to board bylaws 9322. And board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken and no discussion may take place on an item not on the posted agenda according to the Brown Act. And with that, do we have comments from PTA?
None this evening.
CSCA?
No requests for speakers.
And TAL?
No requests this evening.
And any comments from the audience?
We've not received any requests for speakers this evening.
Okay. And that brings us to informational items, enrollment report by Rebecca Cooksey.
Good evening, board. So as of today, in TK through 8th grade, we have 14,117 students. In ECE, 617 students. For a grand total of 14,734 students. This is a loss of 8 students from our last board report and a gain of 367 from the same time last year.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, next we have informational items about the 2022-2023 school start times.
Thank you very much. I would like to welcome our Director of Pupil Safety and Attendance, the wonderful Julie Utzler. She works with transportation and has been instrumental in working with them throughout the course of the year, but especially recently as we sought to coordinate our transportation and our school start and end times because we are part of the JPA. So Julie, why don't you provide us the update? I think we're where we need to be. Thank you.
Try to do that. Good evening, everyone. Just a little bit of history. This has to do with Senate Bill 328, and this actually was conceived about 4 years ago. Sorry about that. About 4 years ago. We knew that this was going to happen. We knew that Senate Bill 328 actually stated that our high schools needed to start no earlier than 8:30. Our middle schools needed to start no earlier than 8. We pretty much took care of our middle school several years ago, and their start times were 8:15 and 8 o'clock. So we were set. What we ended up finding out as we were looking at everything with our JPA, which includes several districts, our district, Westside Union School District, and the high school district, is that our high schools were starting at 7:30, and they had to push their start time to 8:30 or after. And originally, they weren't going to move past 8:30. Most of our elementary schools actually start at 8:30. That presents a little bit of difficulty with our transportation agency because they pick up one group of students, drop them off, and then go back out and get another group of students. And that worked well for us with our high school district starting at 7:30. But if our high school district starts at 8:30 and so do we, that presents a problem. And so we had to look for solutions. It was a little dicey at times. I will tell you that it was hard to negotiate, and we did have to bring the big guns in. The superintendents ended up having to meet several times to make this work. We had several of our schools that already started at 7:50, and that actually worked fairly well. I will tell you that one of the first plans that was given to us actually had us starting at 7:10, which would not have worked very well. That's really, really early for our elementary school students. So when we took a look at where some of our earlier schools started, 7:50, and the superintendents negotiated a bit, and I think it was 3 meetings, Dr. Bowers, at least 3 meetings. The high school district budged a little bit to one side. We budged a little bit back. And we ended up starting at that 7:50 time with our elementary schools, and the high school district, I believe, is going to be starting at about, 8:45? So they gave us about 15 minutes on that side. What that does is it allows our transportation agency to set up those routes where they're able to actually pick up, drop off, and then pick up again. We'll be on the front end of the routes. I think that's a really good place to be. That way, if there are problems, generally speaking, our kids will be picked up and already at school, which is great. So what we came up with, and it was really a plus for us, is all of our elementary schools, our regular comprehensive elementary schools, will have a start time of 7:50. So everything will be uniform across the district. All of our comprehensive middle schools will have a start time of 8:15. And then we have a couple of, outlying schools, different schools of choice that are a little bit different, but most of them are within that same time range. We did have Fulton and Alsbury. They had to pick a time after 8 o'clock. They were a very early start school. So they did pick 8 o'clock, and we think that that's going to work fairly well. There's a lot that goes into this. So picking those times was, phase one. And now some of the negotiating needs to work. We need to figure out how we have our workforce here early enough to greet children, and how it impacts people that have had schedules for a long time where they started a bit later, because most of our schools were starting at about 8:30. There's positives and negatives. I think the positives, I hope, outweigh the negatives, in that we have a very, very consistent schedule across the board. So we'll know when our kids come to school in the morning and when our middle school start. Everybody will be starting at the same times. Any questions?
No questions.
Right.
Julie, thank you very much
Thank
for all
you.
of your efforts, and information will be going home, I'm sure, from the schools this week sometime, and we will continue to provide information and make the schedule available on our website. So if people didn't get everything written down, we will make sure that you will be able to easily access that information in lots of places. So more information to come on that. And again, thank you very much. That concludes the information on start times.
And thank you very much. Great job to all the negotiations that went on to get that completed. And there's a good example of laws and bills passed up in Sacramento that they don't realize all the impact it has on our local schools. And to juggle all the elementary schools with all the high school bus schedule is a huge thing, and compliments to the transportation agency for also helping to work that out. So great job to everybody. And I'm excited that now our schools are all having the same start times. I think that's exciting. Okay, next we have our receptions planned for our new superintendent, April 23rd and May 24th. And we're looking forward to that.
We are, and I just want to add the times, and Dr. Marietti is actually joining us this evening, so he is getting a jump start on making sure that he's connected to everything that is going on in the district, so we appreciate him being here today. And prior to the board meeting, he actually had an opportunity to visit some school sites and visit our Welcome and Wellness Centers. So he is eager to get started and learn more about Antelope Valley and Lancaster School District and all the wonderful things that are happening at our schools. So we're excited about that. On April 23rd, there will be a meet and greet, as well as on May 24th. The time on the 23rd, which is this Saturday, you can come right here to our Parkview Boardroom Educational Complex and meet Dr. Marietti in person between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And he will be here, and so will a few others of us, just to welcome folks, welcome him to the community. And you'll have an opportunity to shake hands with him and get to learn a little bit more about him, so he can share where he's been and what kind of experiences he has had to prepare him for this transition. And we're excited to have him. On May 24th, the meet and greet will be from 3 to 5 p.m. and it will also be here. Again, basically the same thing. We will have light refreshments, and I heard there might be something sweet like a cheesecake. Maybe. Maybe. But if it's not cheesecake, it will still be delectable, because our child nutrition department is working on that, and they've got some things that look good and taste good. So it's definitely something you want to be here for. So welcome, and we look forward to our time together on Saturday. Thank you.
I guarantee that. That's for sure. Unfortunately, I'm going to be working this Saturday, so I won't be here this Saturday, but I will definitely be there on the May 24th reception. Yeah, looking forward to that. Okay. And any other items?
No, we do not have any other informational items this evening.
Okay, next we have our presentations and reports. First, we have our Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Summer School Plan with Rebecca Cooksey, Assistant Superintendent.
I'm going to introduce my Director of Extended Learning Opportunities, Mrs. Jane Dana. She'll be doing the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I am very excited to be presenting this evening's plan for Summer of Fun. I enjoy summer school programming so much because it's an opportunity to do things that we normally don't get to do during the school day or even in our after-school programming. It's really just this is going to be an all-new high-level programming. I want you to look at the picture of that. The panel on the umbrella. This is an opportunity for you to see how we expand our students' mind and their creativity. This is actually artwork that is created from a student on a panel, and they were able to do whatever they wanted to do. So our programming really is about giving students the opportunity to find their creative spark and to explore their interests. So I just thought that would be kind of fun to show you before we launch into what we are doing this summer. So tonight is about the non-school day programming for ELOP. We have to provide a minimum of 30 days. Our summer programming is 17 days. So we surveyed the community just to find out what they thought about the 9-hour day, because we have to offer a before school and an after school option. And overall, everyone was super excited at the opportunity that they could actually have their child attend for a full day. So the date of our programming is July 7th through the 29th. And just so you know, we have been in our programming for ACES, because ACES does fall under ELOP, we follow the quality standards for expanded learning. There are 12 standards that we follow, and there is a program plan that spells out everything that we need to do in the work that we are doing. So we are very aware that we have to make sure that we're in alignment and that we're providing quality to our students. So we make sure that our staff is aware of our goals and our expectation, and that we provide the supports that people need to do their job and do it well. So our locations that we have are going to be 3: El Dorado, Monte Vista, and Sierra. Those are the general education locations. The ESY will be at Promise Academy. Now, with ELOP, you have to offer everyone the opportunity to participate. So what we did was we added transportation hubs. We have 7 locations that families can go to, and we have 4 routes. And I would like to thank Julie for her help with the transportation department to make sure that the plan was sound and that it was doable. And I'm very grateful that with her support, we were able to come up with 4 routes where families can go to and have access to participate. With ELOP, there are ratios that we must adhere to. And for TK and K, it is 10-1. So for every 10 children, we have to have 1 adult. And specifically, when we look at that adult needs to have the developmentally appropriate training to deal with the littles. And 1st through 6th is 20-1. So we're going to make sure that we have additional manpower, woman power in the room to support, to make sure that we're meeting our ratios. The summer schedule is 9:15 to 1:45. That is the time for summer school. Now, we have the before and after school optional component that families can choose. They can choose one, they can choose both, or they can choose none. It's really up to them and what works for their family. We will be providing food during each of these blocks. So for some of our families, this is going to be very important because this makes sure that they are getting meals. So we're very excited to be able to do that. Now, I want you to look at this picture because this is actual programming from one of the past Saturdays with our provider, Sansar. These students are happy to be there, and some of them come regularly because it is a very exciting day. I want you to understand our approach is integrated. We make sure that we build in our 21st century learner skills, that we have learning intentions, we have success criteria, we're teaching the vocabulary, and we're doing that while we are adding that real life application, that hands-on learning. Career exploration is going to be something new this summer because anything that we do, any class that we offer, we are going to be looking at the careers associated with them and what you need to get into that career. So that is going to be very intentional, and our skill building is always part of our programming in ELOP. We're going to have field trips. Our families were very excited about the field trips. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have experts sharing, and we now know the power of Zoom that we can do that and bring people in. And we're partnering with local businesses. And these are just some of the faces that are part of the programming that we currently are doing. And it's exciting to see students happy and proud and building their self-esteem. And we service all students. We don't tell somebody you can't come. Everyone is welcome. And now I'm going to show you a little taste of what summer school is going to be doing.
This is Chef Hodges, and I have been cooking up a class for you. Get ready for a fun food experience. Smells good. What do we have cooking? You're going to get to make your own food and take some home. If you want to have fun this summer, sign up. You're going to have a great time. See you this summer.
One of our most popular classes. Any questions?
That looks great. I hope it's like Hell's Kitchen. Can like board members come into like tasting portion?
You know what? We do welcome you to come and be a taste tester. Oh, gosh.
Diane?
I was just wondering about the before and after school program. Are those free to the parents?
Everything is free.
Okay.
Everything that we are doing is free to our families.
I wanted to give you some feedback. I attended to summer school when I was in 5th grade. And up to that point, I hated the word science. And that summer, the teachers just changed my outlook on it. And so it really truly is a time to explore something different. So I have to say thank you to the summer school teachers.
Thank you.
I had a question. What kind of numbers are we anticipating? I know we were able to expand our summer school program a little while back, and I was kind of wondering if it was still those same numbers or close to them.
So this year we had an overwhelming number of teacher applicants, which was great. We are planning for 1,000 students is our goal. And we will go from there. But right now our projection is 1,000 students, and we are hoping that we will have 1,000 students.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, great to hear that. Any further questions?
How many did you guys have last year? I know you had the cooking one.
Last year we had in general education 16. I believe it was 16 was our number.
16
teachers.
16 teachers. How many?
And last year it was 3rd through 8th grade. So this year it is
Right. You've opened it up. Right.
TK6, which is the biggest difference.
Right.
And we anticipate typically the younger students are more likely to enroll than the older students.
Okay.
So we really do think we will make our target as a result of it being offered to the younger students.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, great job with planning that, and I look forward to seeing the results. Looks really great.
Thank you.
Jane, thank you. Wonderful job as usual. And I can't wait to see the fantastic courses that are going to be offered. Always great stuff. And I'm going to say thank you in advance to all the teachers that have signed up to support it. So it's going to be fun seeing the excitement that comes with summer school. Summer of fun.
Thank you. And next we have our Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant, led by Bart Hoffman, Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services.
All right, thank you. Always hard to follow Jane because she has such fun stuff going on. So the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant and the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program often get confused. So it's always important that we put these together to help put some clarification on how they're different. A year ago, back in May, we brought the plan to the board for board approval because the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant was a one-time allocation to districts. So it was through AB 86 as amended by the AB 130. And it actually has two activities, support for in-person instruction and expanded learning opportunities, so that 90% of the dollars would be to address unfinished learning activities and 10% for additional paraprofessional support. The allocation for in-person instruction came at a time when the state was still seeing most of us in some sort of distance virtual learning environment. So this was incentive money to encourage districts to come back out of virtual, reintroduce in-person instruction. And they knew to do that, they would need to have some dollars attached to support COVID testing, cleaning of the facilities, the PPE, the ventilation, and other pieces. So that's what's listed here. And that is absolutely what these dollars were spent on to have us be able to come back. As you recall, we came back in April partially and then fully here in the fall. And so we put a lot of dollars into ensuring that there were ample masks, shields on desks, and all the other pieces that went into that. So that was part of these dollars as allocated through the one-time dollars. The other two pieces were the expanded learning opportunities sections that allowed for support for addressing that, what a lot of us call unfinished learning, but looking at it in different areas. You could choose the areas you wanted to target. There were 7 that are listed here. So like extending learning time, so after school supports, not like the ones in ELOP, because ELOP is ongoing, as Jane shared with you, that includes summer, intersessions, after school. This was to support different types of instructional extensions. So if you wanted to offer tutoring supports after school, social emotional supports after school, different clubs, activities that the sites wanted to do, it gave you a lot more latitude. Different types of learning supports that you may want to do, whether it was remedial or acceleration, a lot around helping the wellness supports, so health, counseling, mental health services, community learning hubs, supporting technology and connectivity. We did a lot of work during COVID when we were in virtual. So we did have a lot of work done to ensure that our students had the technology they needed and the Wi-Fi access. So that was done a lot during our distance learning time. So when they came back, they still had those access points. And then support for like the high school students who needed to get credit support. And then I think that a couple of the activities that we used during this and that we've been implementing this year as we've been putting the plan into place that really stand out for us were the Sports for Learning partnership that we had, now called Levo, where we brought into sites that wanted to participate time that Sports for Learning would take our students out for physical education and allow teachers then time for professional learning communities, which was very key in having the teachers be able to look at the needs of the students, have conversations as a grade level, and be able to make plans to go back and address those as a team. Trying to do that after school when there's so much going on is really difficult. We do have our minimum day Tuesday, but we still saw that giving teachers additional time would be supporting these needs. And we have found that it's been very successful so far this year in terms of having teachers have that time for professional learning communities embedded in their work day. And it also gave students the time in physical education to get minutes towards the required physical education minutes that they need. So it was a win-win. A couple other things that we've been focusing on this year with that is helping the sites to implement their vision and their plan for extending their day. Many sites have taken different approaches of how they wanted to have personalized supports for the students after school, whether it was through tutoring or maybe some sports clubs or other activities that the kids wanted to see that would help engage them. Because we know that having students have something to look forward to in their day helps keep them motivated and focusing on their academics as well. And then we also targeted a number of identified intervention programs that we knew we needed to bring in that were being looked at for some time. We didn't have funds before. This helped us to get to that. And then the other allocation, the way it was broken into two pieces, the way the state divided it was that this section required it be used to supplement instruction and support to address learning recovery using paraprofessional staff. So we have been working on a pilot program before COVID on what we call the multi-tiered system of support para education program, so MTSS paras, where we use these para educators to come into our TK through first grade classrooms. Teachers opted into the program, and the teachers and the paras are both trained on successful strategies to address the needs of the whole child. So how do we help support their academic needs? So we really targeted small group instruction using the data that we have through our iReady reports. We targeted social, emotional, and behavior strategies, helping to look at the antecedents to the behavior and how do we support that. Taking the strategies from our social emotional learning, our second step, and Kelso's choice and other things that we use in the classrooms, and having the paras go out in the playground with the students during recesses and lunch to help support the students with strategies that they learned in the classroom. So really trying to make that connection both in the classroom and in practical use outside. So this program has been probably one of the most successful in terms of how I see it, having worked trying to find a really good model for how to effectively use that para-educator in the classroom. This program has really been value added. We get great feedback. We take data in multiple ways, both on growth achievement from students, social emotional learning supports that we can measure, and just the attitude that the students have and the teachers and the paras have for the program and the cooperation and collaboration that they have. So it's been very valuable to us. So we hope to expand that. The way the dollars were broke down this year in the 2021 school year were laid out to address these issues as we presented in the plan a year ago. And now as we look at the end of this year, we will continue to look at the data and see where we can continue to add support where it's needed and continue to expand this program, the paraprofessional program. So that's the ELOG, different from the ELOP. It does end September 30th of 2024. So we do need to think about long-term funding for the things that we see that are successful in other ways. So that will be conversations that we'll continue to have. Any questions?
Any questions? And so, yeah, great to have these extra programs in place. So up until 2024 is when these programs are going to be able to use a grant.
Exactly, yes. And then we'll look for additional funding sources to keep things going.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have these extra programs, especially with the gap in learning that, happened with the COVID. So it's great to see the extra support for that. Thank you. Okay. Next, we have our consent agenda items, superintendent, items 13A to 13I or L. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Diane Groom, second by Keith Giles. Any discussion on any of these items? It's great to see all these proclamations, very well written and all very deserving. School Nurse Day, Day of the Teacher, National Teacher Appreciation Week, Classified School Employees Week, Asian Pacific Heritage Month, and Better Hearing and Speech Month. So all very important aspects of our district. With that, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Okay, next items 14, consent agenda items business 14A to 14H. Do we have a motion? Moved by Mr. Nguyen,
Second.
second by Keith Giles. And any discussion?
Can we talk a little bit about the proposal from the Wilden Financial Services?
Sure.
That's item D. Dr. Freeze?
Yes, Mrs. Grooms, how can I help you with that one?
I just wondered what distinguishes this from other support that we have had for the Community Facilities District.
Good question. In our Community Facilities District, we have not, over the life of the Community Facilities District, we've never leveraged against it. We've never bonded against it. And this is the first time that we're actually going to be doing that. When you bond against the Community Facilities District, there is now an additional layer of oversight related to the tax base for that Community Facilities District. It's an additional layer of work, and from the recommendation of CFW, they've recommended Wilden to perform that additional analysis. So it's another level of analysis that's required in order for us to be able to maintain the debt service payments on the bonds that we'll be selling soon.
And will this be an annual cost?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
Nice to see all the roofing projects completed. And siding. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
We've had, we're looking at a lot of our facilities that have been used at some of our sites purely for storage. But with the forthcoming expansion of Universal Transitional Kindergarten, we know that we're going to be reaccessing these facilities as classrooms. And in some cases, we need roofs on them. So we're taking that opportunity now to replace some of the roofs. And once those have been replaced, then we'll go back into the classrooms. We'll start doing things like carpet and other components so that we can get it up to standards and start instruction again.
Very good.
Fairly amazed at the speed. Thoroughly amazed at the speed Miller Construction did at Parkview. The one day there were barricades out, the walls were off, and it seemed like within a week it was all put back together again.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Wynn. There are some tasks which we leave to the experts, and in that particular case, our guys are talented, but some of the work is so encompassing that it would take them weeks to do. So we choose to contract for the sake of expediency and also the professionalism that it provides.
Well, like I said, it was amazing to go by it and see how quickly it was put together, and real pleasure to see that. Also, I'd like to say we've added a great list of activities and fundraisers this year, and I hope that the schools who participate get a lot of support. I try to go to one I think about every day. Somewhere there's a fundraiser going on, and it's all good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Any other questions, comments? Okay, call all for the vote. Say aye.
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 Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Okay, next that brings us to item 15, consent agenda items, educational services, 15A to 15D. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Diane Grooms.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dwayne Wynn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Item 16, consent agenda items, human resources services, 16A to 16C. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles,
Second.
second by Dwayne Wynn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I was going to ask a question regarding the declaration of need for the fully qualified educators, and who might explain that?
I'm happy to, Mr. Wynn. This is something that we do annually. It used to be that we were able to do it after the school year began. Now we're required to do it before we complete the hiring for the new school year. So we make an estimate of the number of teachers that we think we're going to need based on their credential area, and we bring it to the board for your approval. We have done this every year I've been in this position.
So right now it looks as though we need 30 teachers.
Again, I'll say that's an estimate of what we think we need. It's such a moving target. Based on our projections, yes, that's correct. That may change. Well, let me rephrase that. It most likely will change.
Pretty hard to hit it just right.
Yes, sir.
Is that a typical number for this time of year, or is that high or low? Or?
This is a little bit higher than what we brought to the board last year.
Okay. So race has begun.
I think, Mike, you can correct me, but I think Mr. Davis actually hired the first teacher for the 22-23 school year in October or something like that. So, yes, we've been hiring all year long for next year.
Good job.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Davis.
Great. We'll wish you the best of luck in that, and good job. All right. With that, all in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Opposed? Motion carry 4-0. Item 17, consent agenda items, innovation and technology services. Item 17A to 17E.
Motion.
Motion by Diane Grooms,
Second.
second by Keith Giles. Any discussion?
What was that?
So item 6, the School of Drumming, that's for summer school, correct?
Yes, that's for the summer school program after the instructional day. So it's the after school program. This contractor will bring in all different kinds of drums for the kids to play on. It's going to set up a drum set at every school so the kids can play on that. So it's a real innovative program that Mrs. Dana has brought to our district.
Well, I actually had to do this with a former employer, and they actually had for employee orientation, we all had to have the different drums and things. It was amazing, just amazing. Might want to recommend it for our teachers too. It's a lot of frustration.
That sounds a really good program. I know the kids love that. We had a drum program at our school one day, and kids really went to that. I know the parents aren't always too happy if the kids end up with the drum set, but
Bucket all day long.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
all right, with that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carry 4-0. Okay, next we have legislative and policy discussion. Any discussion on the readings? Okay. With no discussion, we'll go on to comments from the board, and we'll start with Mr. Giles.
Okay, thanks. Well, you might be, onto something. 6:53. Huh. I'm going to have to go home and do something. It's nice to see Dr. Marietti. I just call you Paul. It's easier. But thank you for being here, and we're excited to see you. I'm going to try to make it on Saturday, so I'll squeeze you in, and we'll check out, see if there are cheesecakes available, and I'll come from the gym, so it'll be okay. Rebecca, thanks for the report on our numbers, and Julie, thanks for the start time work. I know that's a lot of work, and it's been a hard process, but I thank you for sticking with it and getting the big guns in there to do the job. And thanks to Jane for our summer school. That looks really cool. I kind of want to take that cooking one. I think they all signed up for my kids. I'm trying to think what happened last year. They signed up for, I think my oldest signed up for that, but she didn't get that, but one of my granddaughters did. So they were able to, they all got moved around, things got full, I guess, but I think the granddaughter, one of them got to do the cooking thing and the other one got to do something else. They all had a really good time though. So it was a good time for all. So that sounds really cool with the transportation hubs and all the things that sounds like they pretty much thought of everything. So, and thanks to Bart for the report on the opportunity grants. Good to know we're spending that money wisely and not wasting it on candy, I guess. So thanks. With that, pass it on.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. Mrs. Grooms.
Well, I want to congratulate our school nurses and to give them a day of recognition. It was very well deserved after this past year. Also, the Day of the Teacher and the Teacher Appreciation Week. Very exciting. And then another week also for our classified staff because it takes the entire team to help create the learning environment for our kids. We're very appreciative of that. The summer school program sounds great. It keeps growing and getting more and more exciting. And at some point, I'd love to see us expand the number of schools so that it becomes part of a natural learning environment. But I know that we do have limitations on staffing and kids that are interested. So it's good to know that we have slots for 1,000 kids. So I'm very appreciative of that. Great board meeting. We have requested some data. So Sam, be prepared. Comparing some information from 4 years ago to today. So Dr. Bowers will be in touch with you about that. But it's time for us to get our data hats back on and see where we are. So we've been missing your reports. That's it.
Thank you, Diane. Mr. Wynn.
Well, hard to follow, but Jane, it's great putting together that summer of fun. 10-to-1 student to teacher. What a great amount. What a perfect class size for the TK and K. Now, if we could only do that for TK through third, that would even be better. But even 20-to-1 for the first through sixth, that was good news, and I wish we could forward that to full time. Which leads me to Lexi and hiring. Thank you for putting together that emergency document so that we can go out and look for more. As my boss said when I worked down below, Mike, he said, my boss looked at me and said, pack your bag and don't come back until I have a full house. So good luck. Of course, I'm not your boss, so don't just go pack your bag right now. But that's really all. It's great. It was a great Easter. It was a great weekend. The temperature and everything was beautiful. And we're looking forward to open houses now. That'll be the next fun thing for us. So until then, see you then. And Saturday. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Yeah, a lot of great things at this board meeting. I was especially relieved to see that we worked out the start times with the high school. I know that's kind of been ongoing for a while now, so it's great that we got that worked out and we can really start planning for next school year. So that's fantastic. Also excited about the open houses and being able to get back in the schools and see parents back in the schools. Super excited about that. And also we had a nice quiet board meeting. Very nice. And Dr. Murietti, thank you for being here and being present here at our board meetings. Appreciate that. And look forward to the reception this Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but I know it's going to be fantastic. So look forward to that. Great summer school program as always. And it's neat to see that we have the extended programs too, the morning and the afternoon. And I like how they're optional, but that gives more choices for our parents. So that's great to see also as well. That's everything I had. So with that, we're going to Dr. Bowers.
Thank you very much, Mr. TP. Welcome and thank you to all of those, our audience, for coming out this evening and sharing information. And thank you, a special thank you to everyone who presented and shared information this evening, because it shows that a lot of work is going on behind the scenes to keep things moving forward in our district. So continue to keep your eyes open for some of the exciting new programs, new initiatives, additional support that we will be bringing forward to support our students, to support our families. We're excited about all the things that are happening, but it does definitely keep us all very busy. But good things are on the horizon. So with that, I'm going to say, I look forward to seeing a lot of folks out on Saturday. Again, the invitation is 9 to 11 right here at the Parkview Educational Complex in the boardroom. And we will see the folks that can make it at that time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bowers. And that brings us to our adjournment at 7 o'clock. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nguyen, second by Mr. Giles. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Have a good evening, everyone.